silence, she moves, a pariah scarred by the choices of a bitter past. Yet beneath the hardened exterior, a soul fights against the darkness, tethered only by loyalty and the ever-watchful eyes of a hound. Born in a tribe of nomadic orcs set on land aside for the orcish race, the young woman known as Sharagat Sawtooth was an unconventional child in a dwindling race of beings already deemed as outcasts. Orcs exist outside of this system, but those that do are shunned by orcish society and deemed as stone feet or the lost. This is where Sharagat enters the picture, you see. She was born into the Sawtooth tribe, whose influence once spread across eastern Slimeth, but they are now a shadow of their former selves. Sharagat was an inquisitive child, and at the age of 10, she went on a small expedition to the nearby city of Ebonvain. After being given a free trinket by a street vendor, she headed back to her tribe with it. Eventually, the little trinket, a locket, was found, and due to the harsh rules of her tribe, she was exiled. Sharagat was the daughter of a war chief, a title once feared, now only used for ceremonial purposes. Tribal orc culture is strict and forbids any outside contact. When Sharagat's little trinket was found, she was exiled forever, a blow to her family's honor. Exiled from her tribe, she would return to the place that stole her tribal life from her, Ebonvain. She would run with a gang of child pickpockets that eventually grew into a serious criminal gang as the years went on. She would be the muscle and enforcer for this gang. At the age of 18, she would participate in a robbery gone horribly awry. She and her boss would rob an old man, a pensioner who had served in previous conflicts involving Slimeth. The old man was determined to live to see his granddaughter's birthday the day after the robbery. Believing himself to be an imminent victim of murder, he reached for his old service revolver. The old man got a shot off at Sharagat's boss, killing him. But this gave her enough time to kill the old man. She would flee from the scene, and in a moment of grim clarity, she would realize the sheer heights she had fallen from. She was the daughter of a war chief, practically a princess, reduced to a despicable criminal who gunned down an old man in his own home. She would lay low for a while and take up work here and there to keep herself alive. Time would pass, and she would come across an abandoned puppy. She took a liking to the little thing, and on account of its coat, she would name him Rusty. She would see this as a sign she could still redeem herself, and she would train Rusty to be a search and rescue dog, as well as a mercy dog. She would sign up for the Silver Shore Company's Adventurers Guild, and in time, she would find herself in an old and historic mountain town, alongside other members of the guild. After a confrontation with a bandit clan, masquerading as an independence movement, she would see a possible opportunity to redeem herself. These bandits were indeed threatening the town of Kestrel's Roost, and planned to raze it to the ground if their demands were not met. They would attack in full force a year from the confrontation. Sharagat and her newly found friends would prepare for the battle to come. Sharagat is already an outcast among outcasts, an orc, a criminal, and an exile from her tribe. She's learned to keep to herself for the most part. Rusty seems to be the only one she really trusts. Her solitary nature and need to keep a low profile not only makes her solitary, but more often than not, she cuts conversations short and shuns constant interaction. Her taciturn way of speaking may give people the wrong impression about her intelligence, and reinforces the unfair stereotype about orcs being dumb brutes. In truth, she's not only well-traveled and experienced for her age, but also well-read and has experience working with both animals and machinery. In combat, she uses a shotgun and a heavy revolver, and typically a large hacking blade for close-quarters encounters. She stands much taller than most of her contemporaries, and is a formidable and intimidating force in battle. She will end a fight both as quickly and as brutally as possible. She's not one for finesse in combat and prefers a direct and brutal approach. Rusty is also able to lend a hand by distracting or pinning a foe. Their teamwork is surprisingly seamless, despite the fact Rusty is a very young dog. Despite her brutal and direct approach and size, she does see the value in a stealthier approach, not just out of practicality, but her experience as a criminal makes this nearly second nature. Sharagat stands at the crossroads of her past and her future, a warrior who embodies both the brute strength of her heritage and the quiet introspection of one seeking redemption. With Rusty by her side, she fights not only for survival, but for a chance to reclaim her honor, proving that even the most scarred souls can find redemption in loyalty, courage, and the fight for something greater than herself.